Hi everybody, I wanted to come on real quick and just thank some of my friends who gave me some really good advice yesterday and it helped a lot. I want to thank Alan and Adrian and Genevieve for helping me out. Even though, Genevieve, I didn't end up calling you, it meant a lot. I felt you. I felt you. Like, I don't have the gifts you do, but just you reaching out to me meant a lot. And I am going to catch up with you. I think I might be making a decision today about my work, and it might be really good. So, I don't know. Mom says she's feeling good. I did talk to her yesterday after the video that I did really quickly where I'm kind of like mildly freaking out. And I knew I shouldn't have been, and I was just trying to... I don't know. I think I'm going to look for ways... I'm always so dehydrated, guys. I'm going to look for ways to help calm myself in the moment. Luckily, I don't have panic attacks like I had a few years ago when I worked at a different store. Yeah, and I'm still a hot mess. I think things are going to be changing soon, like for the better. I don't know what I'm doing. I just woke up. I'm very out of it. It is January. Is it Friday? Friday, January 24th. It is, I think it's 9. Ah, what did I do? That's my mess. I didn't mean to do that. Mom's coming home. Mom's coming home today. So, I'm happy. I feel better. I think it was the shock of everything. And I'll do a video about this soon. I think a lot of it has to do with, yeah, that would be a video that takes a long time. There's been like an evolution since I moved into the place I live now, which has been, wow. Has it been 9 years? I've been stuck in the same place for like 8 or 9 years. Like, not moving forward. That's almost a decade. I'm not going to say anything yet. This is separate from my mom. I'm starting to feel some changes coming, and it's for the better. So that's good. I don't want to say it yet because I don't know what I'm doing. That must sound so strange. But so what happened is that didn't become a panic attack, but I just got worked up, and it was going to spiral if I didn't stop recording. And so what I did was, and forgive me for feeling a little slow right now, I just took my medication. I am not awake yet, but going to be getting ready soon to go pick up my mom. Sometime today. We're waiting for the okay of when. I think it will be sometime today. I wasn't even going to talk about that because, honestly, my mom, I have asked her if she wanted to do videos with me when I started my channel. And, because she does beautiful stained glass and she does mosaics, guys. And I can do mosaics too. And I just thought that would be amazing to do videos about that, showing how you can make mosaic stepping stones for your garden, because you can actually do it, believe it or not, you can do it with some things that you have at home. Actually, you know what? When she comes home, I think I'm going to talk her into it. Maybe. 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 We'll see. We'll see. She's her own person. She's an Aries. She's a baby boomer. Oh my God. If anybody's going to make it through this, my lips are chapped all the time. And I'm going to be not changing my content so much as I'm going to be learning how to do good videos. Not so I seem like your neighbor, your bestie down the street who's just talking to you on their phone, which is, I suppose, good. I can't say I'm curated, right? This has been a crazy... Has it been 6 months? I started this channel in May. If you guys want to see the first video I ever did, it was terrible. It was that one about dreaming I was about to die. I know it doesn't sound very cheerful. It's crazy. It's insane. And it's hard to watch because I was in the middle of, I think that was the beginning of this burnout. Or maybe I had been in burnout for a long time. But it was before it came to a head. And God, I was dragging ass. And I didn't understand. I still don't understand. It's just a cashier job, right? So I don't get it. I'm learning about neurodivergent burnout. I'm learning that I might have autism as well. I'm not sure. Ultimately, it doesn't matter in the end because there's really no support for adults. And I can't remember what the controversy was with the symbol of the puzzle piece, and I'm not trying to make any kind of allusion to that, but I think it might have been last summer when the thought occurred to me. And I started talking about this a little bit. I was just going to come on and say thank you guys. I am so grateful. I am so grateful for you guys. Sometimes I think, and this is just because I don't understand and how it seems to me. It doesn't mean that this is how things are. Here, let me turn on a light. Little light. I just feel like a lot of interactions with regular people, like neurotypical people, like they don't care, but I know that they do. And the more that I'm becoming aware of things, like while I'm at work, when I'm out and about, I'm starting to be able to tell, you know? I just never paid attention to it. Before I did this channel, I knew I was different. I knew I was neurodivergent. I didn't have anybody around me who was like me. So I don't compare myself to other people per se, because we're all different and we all have different challenges. If anybody knows it, it's me. I mean, and we can get into story time sometime if you guys want to know. Not going to get into any of my like romantic relationships because it's not relevant. But as far as like my experiences growing up, my experiences relating to being neurodivergent. The funny thing is that I think my dad might have had autism. And it's funny because I saw something on TV once. Up until like last summer, I didn't know anything about autism. I still don't know a lot. You know, I can't believe it's already been a year to a year and a half that I started learning, and I feel like I'm so slow. And I think it's because I have to rethink everything. The only experiences that I've had, or examples of anyone with autism, would have been stereotypes. I've never seen Rain Man, and I knew that not everybody who... I don't know if Rain Man... does the character Rain Man have autism? I think he was a savant. I know that not everyone... I knew that not everyone who had autism was like him. I already did know that. I think I knew about the... and I know we don't say high functioning, low functioning. I'm still learning. I'm new to the... I mean, obviously I'm born this way, so I'm already part of our community because I am me. I can't make myself neurotypical if I wanted to. I just can't. I can't. I'm tired. And it might be time for me to make some positive changes in my life. I think this scare with Mom has motivated me. And it's funny, I won't get into it in this video, but I do have PTSD. And my counselor does want me... She doesn't... The thing that's awesome about her, if you guys can get a counselor like this is what I recommend. Find somebody who doesn't tell you what you should do. Find somebody who says, I think this would be really helpful for you. What do you think about this? But leaves it completely up to you and respects you, whatever you choose. Sincerely. I'm so grateful I met her as a therapist. That she also has ADHD, which has helped me immensely. Because before that, really, I've met people with ADHD here and there, and you might meet them in your walking life out and about. You might work with one or two people here and there. But the majority of people in my life were not like me. So no matter how many times I've had counselors say that it's okay and then this is part of who I am, I still want to be like everybody else, right? And it's not, I don't feel that way as much now. It's funny. I've known about my ADHD for 25 years, and in the last 2 to 3 years, it's just been this fast track to learning all these new things I never knew. And this evolution. And I had to. My depression had gotten so bad that if I wasn't working, I couldn't get out of bed. And my fiance didn't give me an ultimatum, but he knew he couldn't help me, and it's not his job. I cannot make myself neurotypical, and I don't want to. But I was not well. I was having thoughts of not wanting to be here. I was suffering a lot. I was in it, so I didn't understand why. For me, I always felt like my depression was situational because I have had different episodes in my life that usually follow something that is like traumatic or upheaval in my life that I didn't expect, which is understandable. And now understanding neurodivergence from a completely different place and starting to understand my sensitivities and starting to understand why things are hard for me to adjust to. That's going to help me so much. That's going to help me to forgive myself. There is a grieving process. Yeah. Even just me going to the counselors for my depression. I went through a separation and moved back home, and I was kind of like shell-shocked. The details aren't important. The only thing that is relevant in that situation is I went through something that, to me, is traumatic in the sense that everything that I thought was stable and real wasn't, like, completely what I thought. We all go through things and there's reasons for it. I did a lot of therapy. I isolated myself for a couple years because I really took to heart, okay, what's going on with me? Why am I drawn to the people I'm drawn to? Where am I hurting? Where do certain patterns come from? That was, wow, this kind of is similar to that. I'm finding myself in it. I guess this is like a phoenix rebirth. Guys, this phoenix symbolism in my life, it is like the equivalent of a spirit animal. I didn't choose it. I kind of chose it, but I kind of wish I didn't choose it. And it's kind of been, I don't know, walking alongside of me in a way. So the Lady Phoenix name, it's like an online ident that I had back in the day when I used, before YouTube, before MySpace, before social media as we know it. There were chat rooms, there were message boards, and this is like 25 plus years ago. And I was really into astrology. I know this is seeming to go off the rails, bear with me. And my sun sign happens to be Scorpio. And Scorpio's got some really, really tough life lessons. No joke. I mean, everybody's got tough life lessons. I mean, we've all got painful things we go through. And ultimately, regardless of what you believe, you have a choice. You have a choice whether to submit to the difficulty and accept it. And in my case, I felt destroyed by things. I had to allow that, which is not very Scorpio-ish. I'm rambling. I do this. Long story short, I had read something about the levels of Scorpio, and I haven't been able to find it since. So if anybody's into astrology and you can find it, please let me know. So I had my TV paused for a while. So, I don't know if I introduced myself because I just went through something really shocking. My mom has a blood clot and she's in the hospital and I'm worried about her still. But she's coming home. My name is Sherry. I'm an adult with ADHD, probably also autism. It is going to take me a long time to sort through all of it. because it gets very complicated when you have both. And on the outside, because they're kind of opposite from me, even though they have a lot of things in common, I'm just going to let myself talk. What was I going to say? First, I wanted to make sure that I thanked Genevieve, Adrian, and Alan. I think I did already, but I'm very grateful for your words and your thoughts and your prayers and the love and energy you guys have sent. And I thank Alan, because he lit a candle. Him and Talia lit a candle for me, and I thank you guys so much. I've never met you, Talia. Thank you so much. I do believe in prayer, and I'll tell you a really cool story from my mom's side of the family. And I actually think it was my mom. It might have been my mom. It was a member of the family. This is going back a generation. Who was in the hospital that almost died. Everybody came to their bedside and prayed together, and they got better. And that might have happened anyway, I know, but it shouldn't have. So I do believe in prayer. I'm not super, super religious, but it means a lot. And she still has her blood clot, and so what the situation was, God, I'm all over the place. What the situation was that happened is that, what day was it? This is actually helping me feel a lot better, so thank you for letting me record this. Tuesday. Tuesday was my rest day after my work day. And each week I've been trying different things to heal faster. And this particular Tuesday, I was excited because I wasn't out flat in bed. Like, I was exhausted, but so each week's been getting a lot better. It's been slowly, but I was happy. But I was still resting. So I wasn't going up to say hi to my mom. I'm pretty antisocial the day after I work. That's probably true for any neurodivergent people who work with the public. Well, maybe not everyone. But I used to have a phrase for it. And I felt terrible. When I worked a lot more hours, when I worked in another store, I felt terrible. I noticed that when I'm at work, I'm super, super nice and I'm genuine. It's all me. I'm not, because I really can't. I don't want to be somebody I'm not, right? We're already doing that with masking because we have to. It's exhausting, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired of molding my life to what it's supposed to be, because it's not working. It's not. I did just take my ADHD meds. They haven't kicked in yet. What was I gonna say? Oh, Tuesday. On my rest day, I had asked if I could borrow Mom's car. We share a couple of cars, but that was one of the days that my fiance was working. So I asked her if she was using that car that day. I was going to go down and go to work to stop direct deposit because of the bank issue that I'm resolving, so that no more money goes into the bank. And I was really tired, though. I usually don't plan on doing things on the day after I work, whichever day it is. I won't. That's like sacred. That's like my sacred boundary. And it's funny. I have said that for I don't even know how many years to my mom and my fiance. And sometimes she'll still be like, how you doing? And it's like, stop. And then you are put in an uncomfortable situation because you have to be nice, and that's your safe place to be crabby, right? So yeah, I used to have a saying for that, and I didn't understand like why I was so happy to be at work around people, see people I haven't seen, and be so excited, and then be so drained. It was almost like as soon as I came home, I was bitchy. Like I didn't have anything left, and I would snap at people that I loved. I felt horrible about it, but I couldn't stop it. I knew it was because I was exhausted. I knew I was expending more energy than I should, but I didn't understand it all. Um, so I thought of it as like, I told my family, I used my nice up. That was my saying. I don't have any left. So if your energy level is like a battery, when you're sick and you're not feeling good, are you nice? No. You're crabby. You're trying to be nice, but you feel like shit. You have the flu. Nobody's going to expect you to be super nice because you feel like crap. You'll try. So yeah, the day after I work, I'm kind of like that. So I withdraw, and that's how I balance. I have a day that I just show up, and by then my energy reserves have slowly come up during the week, and I expend it all in like one day. And I keep going back because I love the people so much. And I've gotten comfortable. And the culture, the people that I've worked with in the different stores are wonderful, and the managers are awesome. I've had good relationships with almost every manager, except for like one, maybe two. I've been this month. I'll say more next week. I'm not going to get into that too much. What did I want to do? I thanked you for your well wishes. Oh, so God, I'm so symptomatic because I'm so tired. Yesterday, after I was having all that anxiety, and it feels like crap, right? And you know logically, but when you're in your feelings, you can't shut it off, right? So after I was like, anybody have any ideas for me? Because I was just trying to stop it because it hurts your chest and it hurts your stomach. And it doesn't feel good, and it's not helping anybody, including myself. It's just like it's like a positive feedback loop. It feels like a snake eating its tail, like you're destroying yourself, but you can't stop it. You know, I didn't know for the longest time that snakes actually do that. So yeah, when I put up some videos about crows, I'll get into special interests soon. It isn't specifically crows, but one of the things I love is I will find something really cool about an animal, and I'll be like, wow. And I'm like, they're actually really neat. And then, of course, I go down some kind of deep dive rabbit hole that I have to learn everything I can about that animal. And one of the phases I went through was crows. And I actually wanted to make friends with them. There is a video, I think I added it to the end of that playlist. I think I'm going to change that playlist about crows to just all animals because there's other awesome animals as well. I mean, I don't know if you guys like animals or not. And it's like, do I add this? Because it's not like people watching my videos. I don't know if it helps my channel at all, but I'm excited to share something about myself. And, that documentary about crows, I've watched more than once. Wait, I got to get back on track here. Okay. So yeah, I will. God, I have parts of thoughts. I wanted to finish the thought about crows because I just got distracted and that cheered me up. Crows are awesome. It's funny. I was like, I didn't like crows because they're always in the movies as like an omen. Like every horror movie, they're bad, right? But they're just birds. They're just birds. And it turns out that they're very loving to each other, and they talk. I don't know how they know what they're saying, but they talk. And they tell each other about us. And they use tools. We used to think only chimps use tools. Not only do they use tools, they create tools. They will take sticks and they will make like a little hook on the end. I think it was like New Caledonia, something like that, crows. Is it New Caledonia? They say that they're the smartest crows. They all have the same smarts, I think. This is just us being humans having to categorize things and not realizing sometimes we're not the smartest ones on the planets. I mean, right now we kind of are with all our technology and everything, but animals are pretty fucking cool, and they can do a lot of things that we would be shocked. And I love learning about them. It's amazing. Kind of like anatomy. I loved learning about osseous tissue and some other things in anatomy. Bone tissue. I'm not even going to get into that because that's freaking cool. A certain stage of development when a baby has cartilage before it turns into bone. There's a certain stage where all the blood vessels invade it. What? All these blood vessels out of nowhere go and infiltrate into the cartilage. And over time it turns into bone. It's like, what? It's nuts, man. It's nuts. There's so many cool things that I could geek out and tell you guys about. It's really cool. Yeah, I love learning things. So, I don't know if anybody will even watch this. Oh, you guys that have been helping me will. So, yeah, my thoughts, spiderweb. I think they call it spiderwebbing. It's an ADHD thing. I think maybe neurotypical people in general could do it. I don't know if autism people do it, but ADHD, definitely. I know that both ADHD and autism are connections in our brains. Our brains are physically different. There was a group, I know I mentioned this. I really have to figure out a way I'm going to take this information from this group. Hopefully I'll be able to make some changes in my life. I have no idea what yet. Where I can get my energy back and actually give my channel some love and put the things I've been wanting to put on there. I've had no energy. All I've been able to do is chronicle things I'm going through and things I'm trying. And I know that that is valid and that's important, but I'm all over the place. My symptoms are bad, and it's hard for me to record videos. One, I can't seem to keep a single straight thought. Force distracted. Oh yeah, spiderwebbing. So you think of a thing that reminds you of another thing that reminds you of another thing that reminds you of another thing. So it's not a straight line. Like neurotypicals, it just goes straight. And they move on. Maybe that's why sometimes I feel like, and this is not how I should be thinking. I'm trying to undo this. But for someone who loves to think about things and is interested in many, many things, and I see people do a thought in a conversation and then they stop and they're happy with that. And it's like, dude, that's dumb. And they go back to like weather or the team that's playing or dreaded politics. So, yeah, I'll say after I did that video yesterday where I was kind of freaking out, I was like, I got to put this down because just thinking about it and talking about it was making me start to spiral. And I was trying to stop it. And then trying to come up with a solution was making me panic more because I didn't have one. And I'm like, I can't stop it. It was just going to get worse and worse. So I posted that video. I knew it would be helpful in the long run. I knew, like, I was just throwing it out there, and if anybody had something to share, that'd be awesome. But I knew and I know that is definitely something I want to learn a lot more about and definitely teach on my channel. I want to learn, maybe I'll do a deep dive and I'll do a special interest, like if it hooks me. And I could see it happening because it's possible because of how when I got interested in anatomy after I was taking the class, certain things were really interesting to me. Can you imagine if we could learn techniques to stop ourselves mid freak out or just before something is about to turn into an anxiety attack? If you could have access to an on-off switch, and I know we have this ability. I know we do. It may take practice. It may not be instant. I know we do. And I was actually already looking that up online that particular week because I was like, I remember them talking about this in either my A&P class or in nursing, about the vagus nerve. And they were saying if you take a deep enough breath and push hard enough, something that's going to push on the nerve because your rib cage are expanding, that it can actually stimulate it, and you have to be careful because you could pass out. So if that's the case, there has to be a way. Something that doesn't require mindfulness. I'm on a mission. I'm going to do it. I don't have the energy to do it now. Because I know myself and I'll just go headlong into it, and that's all I'll be doing. I'll just be reading all of those articles. I'll stay up all night and I'll do that. I won't want to stop. And that's good because it's going to help us. Whatever I learn, I can share with you, and not all the techniques will be things that help you, but I will share. And some of you are already doing some of these things, so that's good. If there's a way you can open your rib cage to push on a nerve to make your fight or flight turn off, can you imagine if you use that tool on a daily basis to calm yourself as you're at work and stress is starting to come? We could stop meltdowns from happening. Even if you have to go be completely silent and shut down while you're doing it. Being a shutdown, or, I kind of have two experiences. I've had the severe kind of shutdowns where I disassociate after trauma. But I also have the shutdown, which is kind of like a little less than that. And I had that, no, yesterday. Actually, there was a point yesterday evening. But the day before, I was so freaked out because it just happened. And I didn't know what to do. So I lay down in like 3 p.m. and I couldn't sleep. So I just like kind of disassociated and rocked myself to sleep. I have to go to sleep because I couldn't. That was the only thing I knew. And I don't drink and I don't do drugs and I don't judge anybody who does. I'm not talking about addiction. That's a separate topic. But just people who can not the alcoholic drinking to cope, but having like a drink. If you're moderate with alcohol and you have a drink, you're okay, right? I guess it depends on how often that is, but I'm not trying to get into that. What am I saying even? So yesterday, you can tell I'm symptomatic. I'm all over the place. Yesterday, after I talked to you guys, I jumped in the shower and had a really hot shower. I had some essential oil from a long time ago. I think it wasn't as good. It has like some cinnamon oil in it, and I had got it at a little shop in Salem, Mass. And it was a tiny little vial, and it's for your guardian angel, or and it smells nice. So I did sensory things to shut my brain off, and I still spiraled a few times. I cried, but that's understandable. Why am I sharing this with you? Because the things that I learn in these situations in life, because we all go through situations in life where someone close to us has a health scare, whether they recover or not, and it's traumatic. Losing people you love, death is traumatic. We've lost a lot of people in my family since I was young, so that is not foreign to me, unfortunately. So I was able to kind of calm myself, and then I think I called my mom because I figured, well, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and get ready since I knew I was a mess and I couldn't think straight. And I knew the hours were just going to fly by, and it's going to feel like 10 minutes to me. And I thought we were going to pick her up last night. And I called her, and at that point she seemed like she was doing good, so that really made me feel better. And then I got to hear a little bit more from her, saying that it's okay that we have some members of our family who have blood clots, and they talked to her and told her how they are managing and the medication that they are taking. So it's like, oh, because I know how serious that is. The lung is where you don't want the blood clot. So what ended up happening, if I haven't said it already, is sometime Tuesday. Tuesday's my rest day where I totally shut off from the world and either allow myself to just play video games or sleep or whatever it is. It's an off day. It's a day I can shut my brain off. And I had just texted her, even though she lives in the same house, because I was so tired. I'm like, hey, you using the car today? I have an errand to run. And she's like, no. So I didn't realize she actually had her chemo appointment. She's got multiple myeloma. It's a type of bone marrow cancer. She's okay. It's being managed and her health is good. It's just she will always have it. So she does take chemo. So don't panic that I said that part. I can teach you guys about that if you want to learn about that health condition. I can talk to you about that sometime if you like, if you're interested. So I didn't realize she had an appointment that day because she texted me that she wasn't using the car. So I was like, oh, okay. So, and then, as the day went on, I was just too tired. And I'm like, I'm being overly ambitious. Usually I'm just stuck in bed. I had more energy than I'm used to having on my rest day. Usually I'm just stuck in bed and like a lump and I cannot move. And I actually had some, so I was happy. But I could tell I was pushing myself. Now, I did not realize she had a doctor's appointment. And it was probably in the afternoon. And she was talking to her friend, her dear friend, who's our neighbor, and was just like, I guess she's like, I feel short of breath. And her friend was like, hey, you want me to take you to your doctor's appointment? That I can just hang out with you. This is what was told to me. I think that she probably didn't tell me because she didn't want me to worry, because she doesn't want me to worry. She knows I'm struggling, but honestly, like, that's way more important. My struggles are fine. Everybody's got their struggles. These happen to be mine. I'll be fine. You can tell me. That's important. I mean, I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to break. When my dad had an emergency where he cut off part of his finger when he was sewing something, I kind of snapped into, not autotom, but like, I was like, okay, we're going. I'm driving. You guys getting, So I can do that in an emergency. But I think because my depression and my struggles have been so bad this last couple of years. She doesn't want me to worry, so she doesn't tell me things. Which makes me feel sad because I wanted to be able to take care of her and be there for her. That's a whole nother video because that's kind of a trigger for me. That's a long story. I even had a family member say something to me after my dad's funeral. Oh, now maybe you can finally help your mom out. That might have been, I'm going to be honest, that might have been the most hurtful thing I've heard in my life, or one of them. And that's just because family members don't know. Some family members do. The ones that have kids who have what I have. They know. But, and I don't even know him that well anymore, and it makes me, God, that's story time because I grew up away from family. My family transferred, my dad got transferred because of his job to a job in New Jersey. So we moved to New Jersey when I was a baby. And my brother was like 10 years older than me. And I was alone. And all of my cousins had each other. And they all grew up around each other. And they all had that stereotypical upbringing. And I always I wouldn't say fantasized or dreamed about. I was just like, oh, when we finally moved back home when I was a teenager, I was so excited that I could get to be close to family and not feel like alone in the world. Within 6 months, my brother was in a car accident and he passed away. And then I realized that my cousins are pretty much grown and doing their own thing. So it's almost like I missed the opportunity. And I've tried to explain that to an aunt. And she's very loving. She's wonderful. I don't think it's something, if somebody hasn't gone through that neurodivergent experience of feeling like an absolute broken freak who isn't okay and is constantly in trouble with teachers because you can't do what they're asking you to do, so they think you're being difficult. And then they resent you. And then you have... This isn't about me. I'm just saying, if you go through that, and my brother had moved back home when he was a teenager, I don't know. If he moved back home when he was 16 or I don't know. I don't remember what age he was. What age was he? But I was 10 years younger, so it was almost like a different generation. I didn't have siblings. So he moved back home and I didn't get to see him. And I was like the annoying kid sister, always tugging on his shirt, come play. And of course, he was a teenager, so he was going to hang out with his friends. I'm not mad at that. That's normal. That's healthy. What is a teenager going to have in common with a 5-year-old or 6-year-old or 7-year-old? You love your sibling very much, but you need friends that are your age, So I was a baby when we moved to... I'm sorry, I'm just kind of holding this down while I... God, this isn't... Can I do a video that's not an hour? This is what I'm talking about. Eventually, I want to learn how to do videos where I can script them and make them nice. find out how to do lighting, try to make, like, this is my junky wall. It's got marks on it from when we move furniture around. Honestly, I think I was so traumatized when we moved here because I had just gotten out of nursing school and because my family was going to move and it was just 1/10 of 1 point shy. 1/10. Don't you round up or down? 1/10 of 1 point? Anyway, fine, I accept it. I didn't want special treatment, and the way I took it was, you know what, it's not the right time. My family told me in the beginning of my second semester, well, sorry, you're going to have to find a place to live. We're moving. They were going to move out of state. I was like, F. That sucked hardcore. It was horrible because having a learning disability, and in my case, my ADHD, and for me, it's the same because it's all tied together. It takes me slower to process things. I'm very smart. But depending on the material, it takes me a lot longer to read it. It's funny. If it's like English, like literature, I can just kind of breeze through it pretty quick because it's written the way you speak. But like science stuff, which nursing is, chemistry, biology, anatomy, very fact-dense material on each page. You can't just like read it and retain it. You have to stop and take notes. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. Yeah, long story short on that one. I was devastated. That was heartbreaking enough and disorienting. And I was going to kind of like regroup because I always tried to be the optimist, right? I never knew how to cope or overcome with things, but I felt like as long as you don't give up, you never fail because you can just keep trying. You can try something else. But it took me years to prepare for that, of taking all my prereqs and other things before that. So that was devastating. Yeah, nursing school is no joke. I have issues. I have certain opinions with how they do things. I know why. I appreciate why. I just don't think they need to mess with your head and do the things they do. I'm not taking it personally because they didn't just do it to me. It's not personal. But their approach... Have you guys ever watched G.I. Jane back in the day? You're trying to be in the Marines. You have to be able to deal with life and death situations. You could get shot at. You're going to watch people die. They can't baby you. If you're going to be a nurse, they have to prepare you for trauma, for medical trauma. They have to prepare you for the worst. They have to prepare you to be a hard as nails person. So not only do you have to be like freaking brilliant, which is okay, because I love science and all of that, and I'm adaptable and I can learn things. They try to wring you out, so to speak. That's the only word. Any friends that I have, anyone out there who's a nurse or works in the medical field, it's probably the same for if you're going to school to be a doctor, I would think probably. They can't hold your hand. So sometimes they're going to be mean. I knew that going in. So anybody who's young, who's new to finding out about neurodivergence, who is younger, I'll do a video soon on how to evaluate what kind of careers you can go into that you can survive. And I went through some vocational career counseling program. And she gave me some very good information about, because this was the second time for me. I was 2012. Excuse me, it's 2025. Was that 13 years ago? I'm 50. 40. 37. Maybe it was like 2011 when I was like looking through it. I was a beauty department manager and I loved my job. It was a lot of fun. I loved playing with makeup and all of that. And I wasn't particularly a girly girl when I was little, as much as I think in my teen years, I didn't know I was neurodivergent. And I was like, if only I can be pretty. That'll be an interesting video. It'd be interesting to find out coping skills and like, it'd be neat to find out. I mean, those are painful times in our lives, right? If you are neurodivergent and you don't know something's going on, but you're having all of these challenges and you feel like shit about yourself, what do you do? What do you attempt to try? For me, I didn't have to be popular. I just didn't want to be a freak. I just didn't want to. God, kids are cruel. We'll do story time. If you want. If you want. Yeah. So, makeup and hair, I just felt inept in some ways. Like, I knew I could figure it out. And I had looked at myself in the mirror as a kid and I'm like, I think I'm pretty. Am I not pretty? And I was awkward because, like, in my preteen and my early teens, I was used to being the one made fun of. So I desperately wanted to turn that around. I wanted to be okay. I want to be cool, but not, it's funny. Our teenage brain is so different than our adult brain of what's important to us. You know what really helped me? I was reflecting on this as I've been starting to sort through some of the criteria or symptoms or challenges of autism. And I think I started talking about this and then I got veered off in another topic, of course. When it did finally dawn on me that is possible, of course, my first reaction is like, no. What? Where did that come from? But then when I started looking back at things and it clicked, and it was almost like a light bulb moment. And I was going to say this is not in reference to the puzzle piece and autism and that, but it felt like the missing piece. That, oh, I could have this whole other thing be going on too. Now, granted, I've also been learning, this is very new to me. Because I wasn't going out of my way to learn about ADHD because I already knew about it. Got diagnosed 25 years ago. I had all the books. I'm like, what are they going to tell me that's any different than I already know? I already know what my challenges are. And then when I went into the ADHD group I was in, there's a lot I didn't know that they know now. I knew, as far as like what they knew 25 years ago, I knew that it had to do with your frontal lobes not working as well. I might have suspected that our brains were different. I don't know. But the very first week of that group, the topic was the anatomy of the ADHD brain. And I want to dig those notes up. And I know the anatomy of the autistic brain is different as well. And I think it's in slightly different ways. I'm not sure. I have a feeling that this is like burgeoning science right now. And I feel like part of the ableist thing, reactions around you, the pushback, I think like people resent it and they're like, everybody's getting diagnosed these days. Everybody thinks they have autism. Everybody thinks they have, which is true because we get that too. Everybody's got ADHD. No. Do you forget your wash in the laundry and then wash it like 5 different times because you keep forgetting about it? No, you don't. Could you sit to have your breakfast and drink your coffee, and then your love goes to work if it's your day off, and you're like, what are you going to do today? Oh, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then it feels like 20 minutes go by and they walk through the door and it's been like 8 hours. Does that happen to you? No. Are you constantly bumping into things? Poor proprioception? Think you're a klutz, which you're not. Maybe. Like some of the stuff everybody does, right? And I think that definitely for a lot of people, being under stress, which, let's face it, in today's society, they expect more and more with less people. So that seems to be our existence in our culture these days, can create foggy memory because your demands that you're putting on your brain is more than any brain can probably do. Like when I record videos. This says I've been recording for an hour. I feel like I've been talking to you for 10 minutes. It makes me feel insane. So anyway, I have no idea what I was saying, but my mom's better today. She still has the blood clots. It is still potentially dangerous. The shock has worn off. The fact that there's a possibility she can live with this. Did I even get to tell you what happened? I was resting. She was feeling lightheaded. Her friend said, why don't I take you to your appointment? I didn't even think to go up and say hi to her because it was my withdraw, be a grump, and antisocial day. So I don't talk to people on that day because I can't. So her friend took her to the doctor and I had no idea. I was downstairs withdrawn into myself. And then my fiance comes home and he gets a text from the neighbor updating on my mom being in the hospital. I freaked the fuck out because I was just like, what is going on? I was here. What happened? So I think a lot of my upset was from that because, like, dude. So when she took her to her appointment, she had told them about her symptoms. And then they immediately went and start doing some assessments and screenings and didn't do the chemo appointment. She ended up being assessed for her shortness of breath. And of course they did EKGs and all of that just in case. Because if you're younger, they might look at it like you're having anxiety, but given her age and she's 80 and she is going for chemo, they're going to look at that. Your health is not the same as a young person. So I don't know what kind of scans. They did EKGs, and then they found that she had a small blood clot in her leg. Or I don't know if it was small. They found a blood clot in her leg and a larger one in her lungs. Now I say lungs because it was like, if you look at your chest, like in between the rib cages, it's somewhere in here. I don't know. It's on one side or the other. It's in a bad spot. So I don't think they could see it. And so they immediately sent her to another hospital. So by the time we had gotten the text from my neighbor, it was at night. I don't know, somewhere between 7 and 10. And I was like, what? And she had, I think her appointment's usually at like 3. So at that point, she was on her way to that hospital by ambulance. And the neighbor texted us, and then she was on her way home. So, yeah. I was freaking out. It's funny. Like I was saying before, we've had a lot of loss in our family. So sometimes I get this weird, numb survivor, go through the motions vibe. It's like my brain's way of coping. Like when my brother died, I didn't feel anything right away because, well, I was 14. So to not really experience a lot of loss and then it be your sibling, and we had just moved back home after all of those years I had been away from him, and I was really looking forward to getting close with him, getting to know him as a young adult instead of this little kid, and it was kind of taken from us. Do me a favor and just don't say it's his time. Please just don't do that. Just don't do that. Even if it is, I don't care. It's just something that has been said to me, and that's something for me to come to terms with. I don't know. But that was another, I think that's why I go into this mode, because he didn't die immediately. I'll talk about it sometime. He was in an accident and he got ejected, and he hit his head on the frame of the door, and he got ejected out of the car, and he had a head trauma on the ground when his body landed. And when he got sent to the hospital, he was having seizures on one side of his body. He was unconscious. They stabilized him. Kind of a similar thing. So I think that's why I went shock and awe kind of thing. Ugh, God, that was horrible. Again, we got a call, and it was just like, no, we just saw this. We just saw him. It's not possible. And because I didn't live with him and I was a kid, it was really unreal. And I don't know if he had gone to more than 2 hospitals. He was in one hospital. They did some like CAT scans and some tests, and they had sent him to another hospital because they were trying to evaluate the damage to his brain from the head trauma. I'm a little disconnected from it right now, so I'm somewhat numb because of this thing that happened with Mom. It's like too much, so my brain's not like letting me go there right now. But yeah, over a period of a week or 2, he was kept alive by machines. That was so traumatic. My mom tried to have me hold his hand, and it was cold, and I freaked out, and I ran out of the room, and I've always had a lot of guilt about that. And again, it was sad. I saw all my cousins had siblings. And I'm not jealous of them. I don't resent them. I'm happy. We're different people. That's just the deal. It's just life. It's just how it happened. But it's been very, very lonely. You know? I'm somewhere I knew there was something wrong with me. I always felt something was wrong with me. You know, now that I'm an adult, I have a different perspective, especially now that I've been learning all this new information about neurodivergence I didn't know. It's hard to heal the kid who was hurt so much, because that was a long time ago, and this is me now, and you can't do anything about it. I understand now. And if there's something that I share on my channel that's helpful for people in any way, then I feel like I've done my job. Even just listening to this, if you feel less weird, you're welcome. At least even if there's one person, even if I'm like different from all other I mean, we're all different, right? Nobody's the same. We're all so different. Oh my gosh, it's insane. That's why it's so hard for me to like sort through it out. I'm not even talking right. If you look at all of the potential challenges of being a person with autism, so somebody might, struggle with this aspect, and this aspect, and somebody else might struggle with this aspect. It might be two seemingly totally different people with totally different struggles, and they're both autistic. And I've been learning that about ADHD as well, where we used to just think it was you're a space shot, but you may have hyperactivity or you may not. And now they've changed it so it's, instead of ADHD and ADD, it's all ADHD, which I get now because some people are equally both. So it's ADHD primarily inattentive, which is me, less of the hyperactive, although I get it sometimes. But you're like staring out the window and dreaming and in your head all the time. And then there's the primarily hyperactive, which can be emotional regulation. I left the door open for my mom's cat to come down if he gets lonely, but he's terrified. He doesn't come down here because my cat that I had passed away about a year ago now. And anytime we opened the door for him to come down and she was here, she didn't take his shit. Because he was a bully when my parents lived in a different place. They had the two cats I adopted from them, and then they got Sam. And as soon as Sam got old enough, he decided he was going to kill them. So Sam does not like to cat. He does not know how to be a cat. I've been around cats my whole life. He is some kind of weird anomaly. He's a little bit of a prima donna. So we did all the Jackson Galaxy stuff from My Cat from Hell. We had a screen door in my parents' bedroom, so they kept them separate, and they tried to reintroduce them. They did all of the things, and it didn't work. And poor Ben and Annie. Poor Ben. He was so sensitive and so sweet. He was very intuitive. When I went through a separation, I moved back home, he would come look for me and stare in my eyes, and he knew something was wrong. And I always remembered that, and that meant a lot to me. So he was very empathic for a cat. Cats are sensitive anyway. And Sam is just like a bully. But Ben's sister, Annie, she's funny because she's this little tiny thing. They've passed now. And you would think that she could get beat up on, but she would scare him. She'd hiss at him and she would be ready to put down, to brawl. So he still is afraid. We haven't had a cat for a year now that both of them have passed. I can't believe, I think it's March. It's February or March he passed. I can't believe it's been that long. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm all over the place. Yeah, these last couple videos are absolutely atrocious. I have been so burned out. I've been in a burnout and I'm trying to recover. I can't think straight at all, and you can tell. Um, I don't know. I know that I can go back and I can break it up into itty little videos according to topic, but I can't think straight to edit at all. And I'm overwhelmed with other stuff. So, yeah, this monstrosity is just going out into the ether. He's a brat. I love him. I try to bond with him, but he's a little bit of a brat. And it's kind of funny. My mom's an Aries, and Aries are pretty they can be bossy. Sorry. It's some kind. I love her. Don't get me wrong. I love her fiercely. You wouldn't know that quality of you if you met her now as like a little old lady. My neighbors must think I'm a total jerk because I withdraw from her because I have a lifetime of that experience. And now I'm learning about PDA. I got PDA for myself. What kind of mind F is that? If and when I change jobs, which I am considering, I hope to have much more energy, not always be coming to you like this. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like horrible, but and I'm not like super, super girly, and I'm not like a makeup freak, but you know, mom is texting me. No specific time. So far, it looks like this afternoon she might be coming home. I want to give her the biggest hug ever. That's going to hurt her. That's how tight I want to squeeze her. Yeah. This is life. This is life. My dad was diagnosed with cancer when I was 11. He got very, very sick. Luckily, he eventually got better. We went through that. My mom has cancer. Her cousin had the same kind of cancer that she has, and they caught it later, and they did the stem cell transplant, which basically wipes out your entire immune system and reboots it, and it's extremely, extremely dangerous. But he didn't make it. A lot of cancer, a lot of diseases, disabilities. I think that that's part of what inspired me to go towards nursing. But maybe it's okay. You know what? Part of my journey and not being able to let go, the last 7 to 8 years we've been here, it's been kind of just like, now what? And I haven't figured out why I couldn't redirect myself to figure some other path out in life. Like, why have I stayed stuck? There is absolutely nothing wrong with cashiering. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But it wasn't my plan. So it's just been like a survival mechanism. And the managers are really great so that when you have changes in your life and you have to cut back your hours or change your shifts, like they accommodate that. And I don't know any other job that does that. And now that I understand why I wasn't able to really stick with other jobs, I think maybe subconsciously, this is the first job I've stayed at for more than like a year or two. And I know how hard it was for me to keep a job in the past. And I blamed myself. I would be very ashamed of that because other people don't have that problem. Like, this, what's wrong with you? Maybe that's why I've stayed as long as I have. The combination of it fulfilling my needs. Cashiering does not pay enough for you to survive on. Yeah, we'll talk about the college thing soon because I did go for phlebotomy. And now that they have all those jobs available, like when I first graduated with that one before I went into nursing, there weren't, unless you went to Red Cross. This is getting freaking long. And I can't think straight. I love you guys. I know this sounds weird. If you don't know me, my name is Sherry. I am an adult with ADHD. I don't know if I should accept autism, and I don't know how to know. My counselor and I has been trying to help me. So far, I have not had access to a place around me that even tests adults. And I've just been in survival mode and not well, and trying to figure out something I can do for a job to survive and make more money. The goal was the whole reason I went to school was to find something that I could make enough money to take care of my parents in their older years. And it has been the opposite. Oh, God. So that is probably, I don't want to say like the biggest loss in my life. It's like the only thing I have left that I can do is be there for my family. I saw how they were there for their parents. And it feels like the biggest failure. And I know it's not my fault. I wanted to do it. It would make me so happy. And my dad died before I could. God, this isn't supposed to be feel sorry for me hour. I'm sorry. We all have things, you know? We all have stuff we go through. We all have loss. We all have trauma. Well, Mama's coming home today. Somehow, at some point. I don't know when. We're waiting to find out when to get her. And this meandering nightmare of a video is me thanking you guys for being there for me. And I look forward to learning more. I look forward to absorbing the information. This whole thing and how to sort out if you have both. It feels like this is a correct word. Exponentially more complicated. So if you think of all the varying ways autism can present in one person, like so vastly different, and the different ways that ADHD can present and different challenges depending on who you are, and take the variables from each of those and stick them together, like how many more multiplied by what? Is it squared? Like, and then apparently the opposing challenges, like I want a routine. I want things to be nice and neat, and they're horrible. They are, a bomb went off, and I am seemingly completely incapable of, I'll do it. I'm going to do it. So all of you who like things very neat and are organized, you wouldn't want to come to my house. Because with my executive functioning issues, especially now with the burnout, have gotten so bad, I can't think straight to save my life. I'm determined. Yeah. Back to the Phoenix symbology. What stuff in my life is not for my highest good? What things am I clinging to? Whether it's stuff, things I have to go through. I've been so traumatized having gone through a divorce that I don't know how to come to terms with that. And I'm over it. It's like years ago. I don't think about that time. I'm totally good. I did my healing. I don't think about that at all. I'm happy. And I hope I hope the other person's happy too. And I hope their family's happy. And I hope everyone's good. Because, yeah. But I have boxes I haven't opened. I have a wedding dress I never wore. I've never even been able to look at the boxes. I don't understand it completely. How is something so traumatic? Like, I wasn't in any kind of abusive situation. I didn't have any traumatic life emergency happen to me. Yet, I cannot open those boxes. I can't look at that stuff. I don't want to. It's weird. It's weird. I don't want to hold on to them. I don't think about it. It's like a reminder of that. It's a reminder of pain. Maybe I will learn how to be a phoenix this year. Those of you who do tarot know the Tower card. The phoenix reminds me of the Tower card. It is a picture of a castle on a cliff, and lightning comes down. It's a castle, and it just gets demolished. Lightning comes down and destroys it, and it's like, and if I'm not remembering this correctly, let me know. But the Tower, and I've gotten that in a reading once, and it just struck me. The Tower is us, right? It's our life. It's things that we think are stable. It's stuff we build and cling to. Even if there's something better out there for us, whether it's a relationship or a career or something you're desperately clinging to that's not working. For whatever reason, the Tower represents that life getting absolutely demolished. And it's not fun. It's kind of like equivalent, like the separations I've had in my life have all been absolutely complete demolition. Every single time. I've lost all my money. I lost my home, pretty much my belongings. And there's nowhere you could hide. Whereas if you have a death in your life, that's a finite kind of thing. It happened. That person's gone. It's very, very painful. And you go through your healing journey, and then there's an end to it. With separations or divorces and things like that, you've invested your entire life into these plans for your future and what you think your life is going to be, and with the person. And suddenly that is destroyed. I don't know anyone who's gone through a divorce that didn't lose everything. Anyway, it's part of life, whatever. So the Tower card is very much like the Phoenix. It's very much like anyone who's into crystals and gemstones, Moldavite. If you aren't willing to lose everything, I do not suggest adapting that as your symbol. I wish I knew that. It's supposed to be the highest evolution of Scorpio. I don't know. That's how I found out about it, but it's a theme. It's a theme. Symbols are things that we learn from, that we don't understand yet. The Phoenix is something I learned from, and I don't understand it yet. Love you guys. I'm embarrassed this is an hour and a half, but I love you. I don't have anything else to say. I know we're here for a reason. I just feel like society and expectations of jobs and all of these things are so rigid. And it seems silly to me. And I get it. You can't have people show up late all the time if you want to have a functioning business. We'll survive. I won't give up if you guys don't give up. And when you're having a bad week and you have something traumatic happen to you, reach out to me. Because if I don't know you that well and I'm not going to your channel, send me a little message. I will. I'll talk to you. I'm just a person. I'm not famous. I'm just a person struggling with my ADHD and shit. Getting my shit together somehow. Love you guys. Bye.